All right. Hey, y'all. So I am here on a Sunday. Today is Sunday, right? I'm starting to get my days mixed up because it's crazy. So the notification usually takes a second to go out. So we're just going to give people just a few minutes to come into the room. And y'all let me know as y'all are coming into the room. And so I decided to do something a little different while we're going through this whole coronavirus thing because it's just been a lot. And it's been overwhelming, and that's all that people have been talking about. But that's okay. Okay. Because I feel like maybe we're kind of getting over that hump a little bit. But hey political pug, hey camera stage, hey DJ Oliver. So people are slowly coming into the room, and we're gonna get started in just a second, you guys. I have Ashley Geist with me, and she's actually a blogger, okay? And I'm gonna make sure that she introduces herself and gives her information out. So if y'all want to follow her, she does like relationship blogs and all these type of things. But let me tell y'all how I came across Ashley. So as most of you know, hey DJ Moss, hey Regretful. As most of you know, I had been looking for somebody to talk to about coronavirus, and I actually have some more interviews coming up this week that I'm super excited about as well, you guys. But y'all know I have been looking for people to talk to, and I had somebody send me Ashley's a video that she posted about her mom, and she was saying how the doctor basically turned her mom away, and her mom has asthma and some underlying conditions and stuff like that. And the video was it was very authentic. You know, it came across very authentic. I could tell that you really love your mom in the video. And I was like, let me reach out to her because, you know, this may be a great opportunity to possibly, I don't know, educate people, inform them, let them know something from a different perspective, you know, all these other things. So that's how I came across Ashley, you guys. Thank you, Kenny. Kenny said, hey, RhondaMary, I hope all is well. Blessings to everyone in the chat. Thank you so much, Kenny. Hey, Pilu. Hey, Black Introvert. Hey, my views. All right, so Ashley, I want you to start by just kind of introducing yourself, telling a little bit about, you know, what you do with your blog, letting them know where they can find you. And then I want you to go into giving a little bit of the backstory of what happened with your mom up until like her going into the clinic and things like that.
Okay, just going into the clinic to get tested, or the first time? Because it was
the first time.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. My name is Ashley Geist. I'm a blogger. My blog is called Single Woman Chronicles, where being single is a beautiful choice rather than a miserable circumstance. So you can follow me on all platforms, Single Woman Chronicles. But my mom's situation. So it went on a Thursday. So on Thursday, she actually went back to our hometown, and she was there. And she was cool, but like because she had asthma, she was having breathing issues, and you know we're in allergy season, so you kind of don't know. So I was already upset that she went back because it's like we're in Corona Nation right now. Like, why would you travel back home? So that was already annoying. So the next day she woke up and she's calling me, talking about she feels like crap, and she's driving back here, and it was gonna take her 6 hours, and she felt like crap. She had a fever, a light fever. And her head was hurting, and she just felt really tired. So she finally got back home and was like, I'm going to sleep. So then later, she got home at maybe like 3 p.m. And so about 7, 8 p.m., I called her because I'm worried the whole time because I'm like, Corona is out here. Like, you sound like you have symptoms. Mm-hmm. So then when I called her at 8, she's like, I'm burning up. I have a fever. Like, I don't know what's going on. And I'm like, see, I told you to sit down. Do you have a thermometer? She's like, no, I don't have one. And so I said, I'm going to go to the store and try to find you one. But all the thermometers were sold out, but I had my own. So I just put it in a pot, boiled it. And I took it to her house and set it on the porch because from that day, I'm like, listen, if she got something, I don't want it, but I'm going to leave it, for her. So she checked her temperature. It was 101. So when she checked her temperature, we're just like, okay, This is ridiculous. And I'm like, Mom, take your breathing treatment because you know you got asthma, whatever. She's not listening. She's like, no, I'll be fine. So she goes to sleep. She wakes up the next day feeling even worse. So at this point, she's not really breathing heavy, but again, she's coughing now. She has body aches. She has chills. She has the fever. And she's tired. So she literally had every symptom. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, Mom, you need to go to the doctor. And, you know, she's being hard-headed and stubborn. Like, I don't need to go to the doctor. It's just a little cold. And I'm like, bro, no, it's not.
So you finally get her. You finally get her to go
to the drive-through. So first of all, it's already troublesome trying to go to a doctor right now. You can't just pull up and say, I'm going to the doctor. You have to call ahead if you think it's corona related. So I called a few before and I'm like, hey, she's having all these symptoms. Should she come there? And they're like, oh yeah, they have this testing site, but the testing site is $150. So they have to pre-screen you at $50 and then you get tested for another $50. So it's like, okay. But, all right, that's crazy. Then the other urgent care is like, yeah, you can come and we can see you. So she went to urgent care and they say, you have a sinus infection and sent her home.
So they did no testing when she came. Even though she told them before she came, she felt like she had corona symptoms.
Yes. Correct? She had every single
And when she got there, they was like, nah, you got sinus, go home.
Yes. They told her she had a sinus infection, although she has asthma. Yes. And she's 53.
Did they do any testing that day?
No.
She went? No.
She was literally there for 15 minutes.
Oh, wow. Okay. So they send her home. Like, what happens next?
They send her home. I'm upset. I'm angry. Like, I'm so mad. I start crying on the phone. Like, I am upset because I'm like, do you understand how crazy you sound? Because she believes them. She's like, no, it's just a sinus infection. Because I'm the only one who's like, you need to get tested. Everyone else in the family is like, she's fine. She's all right. She's good. And I'm like, Mom, you sound crazy. You've had so many sinus infections in your entire life. Have you ever had a fever? She's like, no. Well,
right. So you finally talk her into going to another doctor. Is that right?
No. So at that point, I'm telling my friends in my close circle, and I'm like panicking. And I'm like, she can't get tested because you call the hospital. And you say, hey, can she come in? Because I really think she has it. Like, I could try to convince her to come in. They're like, no, you have to call the helpline. Guess what? Helpline's only open Monday through Friday. So if you get sick on Saturday, it closes at 11 p.m. Right. If you get sick outside of those hours, you can't go to the hospital unless, like, you're, like, about to die, basically. Right. So then I'm telling my friends, and then my homegirl texts me, like, hey, they just opened up the Walgreens, the CVS clinic for free. So she gave me that morning. So I just knew when she went to this urgent care, they were going to test her. So I waited it out. So when they didn't test her, I went on the CVS app to see when she could get an appointment. This was a Saturday. I couldn't get her in until Tuesday because that's how packed it was. Okay. So after that, I called her and was like, I'm going to get you tested, but you got to wait till Tuesday. She got an attitude, but it's like, she's like, I don't know if I want to get tested, whatever.
So she's like a regular mom when her kid is trying to tell her what to do.
Exactly.
So you get her to go on Tuesday. Do they test her?
Yes. So by Tuesday, it had gotten so bad that she was like, I have to get tested. Because by Tuesday, the fever got worse. It was like, when they said that you can't walk from one room to another, they're serious, like without getting tired. Like, that's how bad it was. By then, she's wheezing. Like, she can't really catch her breath. Like, it's getting bad. So on Tuesday, when I'm like, your appointment is today, she's scared by this point. So finally, she's like, I'll go. So on Tuesday, they actually had an early appointment because originally she was at 3. So I got her up to noon. So I had to, like, leave work and I had to take her myself. So I have to put my protective gear on in order to take her because I'm like, I know in my heart you got it. So I need to take you. So she gets tested.
So when you take her and she's tested, right? How long does it take for the results to come back?
See, it depends on the place, but the place I went to was a drive-through clinic. It literally took 20 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes. It was quick.
So they tested her. Did they do the test where they stick the thing up her nose?
So the way it was a drive-through, it's really cool how they got it set up. So you go in, she was sitting in the back seat, I was in the front. So they go around when he has his whole suit on, and they hand her this little Q-tip, the long one, like you're talking about, and they make her do it. So they made her stick it up her nose, and they handed it back. She handed it back, and then they go tell you to park. They go to their lab, and then they call you on a cell phone and tell you if you're positive or negative.
So they made her do it.
Yes.
And y'all sit in the parking lot, and they call you 15 to 20 minutes later and let you know.
Yes.
She had it.
Exactly.
Okay. That's interesting. So when she finds out she has it, what is the immediate directions that you get from the clinic?
That's so funny. People ask, it's like there's no directions because there's no cure. Like, so they tell you to wait, and they bring you the paperwork that says you tested positive, just in case you have to go to a hospital or something. And then they give you the same list of things that they're giving everyone else. Drink fluids, stay away from people, blah, 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 blah. That's it. Like, the same information that's available already is the same information that's on the pamphlet. And if you start breathing heavy, call 911.
So, but they did tell her to go home and quarantine for 14 days. Is that correct? Okay. So she goes home. She does that. What happens over the 14 days? Just briefly kind of give me, how, like, what days the symptoms kind of start to subside and things like that. Does it get worse? Does it get better?
So the thing about the virus is it multiplies in your system, meaning that the reason it's so hard to fight off is because when your immune system is trying to fight it off, the harder your immune system tries to fight, the more it fights back because it's multiplying as much as you're fighting as well, if that makes sense. So we started on the Friday, really. So we're going to say Friday was day 1. So by Tuesday, what's that? Like day 4 or 5. And so 6, 7, 8, 9 were horrible because she's still breathing hard. Her fever's getting worse. She's waking up in the middle of the night and she's sweating. She's taking, so they can only give you medicine for the symptoms. So she's taking all these medicines. So
did they give her specific ones, like just say, take this over the counter for cough, take this for, they just told her
it's trial and error. It's literally like
whatever you think you need over the counter. They didn't instruct her no specific anything. Okay.
So so that was Tuesday when she got tested. She felt so bad on Friday. She was scared because her breathing had started to get a little shaky. So she went to the hospital. So she did go to the hospital on Friday, and they said she was dehydrated. Another symptom is you lose taste in your mouth. When you lose taste in your mouth, you don't want to eat anything. She hadn't been eating nothing. And because she was just so tired, she hadn't been drinking enough. So she got dehydrated.
So about how many days did it take for her to recover? And what are some of the things that she was doing during this time to help the process at all?
When she finally started having energy and feeling better, it was like day 12. And the thing she was doing was following directions. The thing about it is we have parents who don't follow directions and they're hard-headed. So like my best friend's mom is a nurse. So she helped me tremendously throughout this process. So because she's working with them day to day. So she's calling me and giving me tips to tell my mom. So she's like, she needs to do this and she needs to do that. So she's like, she needs to take the, they give you Tylenol for the fever. You need to take the Tylenol every 4 hours. You need to constantly be drinking water. My mom hates water, so she has to be forced to drink water. You need to drink Powerade to replace your electrolytes. You need to drink cough medicine. The cough medicine has to be strong. She actually got a cough medicine that worked from the hospital because the ones over the counter don't really work because the cough is so bad, like you literally sound like you're dying. It got so bad at one point when she coughed, she threw up. Like that's how bad the cough is.
So at any point did she have to go back to the hospital or the clinic during the 14-day quarantine?
She didn't. So what I'm learning is levels because you got your mild, your moderate, and your severe. Your severe is when people are in the hospital, they can't really catch their breath. They can't, like, every time they talk, it's like, hey, how? It's like that. So that's when you have to go to the hospital. My mom, although it was crazy, hers was moderate, like, and that's still a battle.
Right.
So
And so she's overcome now, correct? Did
yes.
it take the full 14 days? Did it take longer?
I would say longer, because even on like day 14, she was still having a light fever. It was like 99 point something. It wasn't crazy, but she had her energy back. But yeah, the funny part was she lives with her husband and he had no symptoms.
So he had no symptoms the entire time.
Entire time. He just tested last Monday and he's negative.
Okay, so did she have to test again after the 14 days?
No.
So she had it. She doesn't have to test to say she's negative now. It's just like, oh, we at least you know you got it. Just go on with your life now.
Yes, there's no process.
Have they sent her anything in the mail to say?
They called her.
They called her to check on her?
I don't know what they wanted. She talked to them. They were just calling her to ask her about symptoms and like the process, because I think they're just doing research.
So
yeah.
So she hasn't been tested again, is basically what you're telling me right now. How does she know she doesn't still have it? How are y'all sure? Are y'all going by the temperature? Are you going by, oh, I feel better now?
She doesn't know. She won't know until she has to have surgery the end of this month. She won't know until pre-op when they have to test her again, because the thing about it is they don't want to test you because they don't have a lot of tests. So they want to test you until you're actually almost dying or you literally have every symptom. So like, for example, the CVS clinic that I took her to, in order to even get tested, I had to select everything because, I mean, she was high risk and she did have every symptom. But I tried to get her husband tested.
Could the testing, do you think it has anything to do with the area, possibly the actual hospital y'all were trying to go to, the urgent care you were trying to go to, any insurance, anything like that? Or you just think it's strictly no test anywhere in Georgia? It's just
because I know so many nurses. The nurses are telling me they literally, like, I have a friend that's a nurse. She said they literally at one point they had like 3 tests in a hospital. Like, it's crazy. In Atlanta, there's like, it's too many cases and they're moving too fast. So they're trying to develop, the tests. So that's why they're being so stingy with the tests, because they don't have enough.
So let me ask you this. Had your mom previously ever had flu shots before?
That I don't know. I'm not sure.
What about, has she ever had in the past pneumonia, the flu, anything like that? So this is her first time dealing with any type of, I think coronavirus is a type of influenza, right? Is that right?
I don't know. But
I think it's like a category of influenza, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
I hope I'm saying that right for the medical people in the chat. But so to your knowledge, she had never had flu before, never had pneumonia. You're not sure if she's ever actually had the flu shot before.
Right, I'm not sure.
Have you had the flu shot before?
I haven't.
You take it regularly? You never had the flu shot? Have you ever had the flu?
Possibly not. I don't know. I'm not like a doctor goer. Like, if something happened, I just, was like,
you just kind of waited it out.
Yeah.
Okay. And so based on, so let me ask you this. Your mom, she apparently has surgery that's coming up. So she's staying in the house still. She's still quarantined.
Yes.
Is she going out at all for anything? Groceries, gas, food?
She has been out, I know, to go to the bank. That's the only place I know that she's physically going to, because she has her husband and he can do like the shopping and stuff. But as far as like out, no.
So based on your experience, right, with your mom being diagnosed with the coronavirus, and looking at the social distancing measures, comparing the social distancing measures to the experience that you've seen kind of firsthand with your mom, do you think the social distancing measures are justified? Do you think they're enough or not enough? Too much or not enough is what I mean.
I think
so the 6 feet apart, wear the mask,
right,
middle seats out of the plane, nobody can work but essential workers. Do you think
I
What do you think
think
about
it's enough. I think it becomes not enough when people aren't listening because they
it?
don't experience it. I think a lot of people who are still ignoring it is because they have not seen it for themselves. It's
Right.
still like an idea for them. It's not
Mm-hmm.
a reality. I say that I think it's enough because even me putting myself at risk to take my mom, which I didn't mind, but I put on gloves. I had on a hoodie. I sprayed her car down with Lysol before I even got in. I made her sit behind me, and I was negative. You know what I mean? And I guess I'm assuming I'm negative because I didn't have any, because I had to quarantine myself, but I didn't have any symptoms. But I had exposed myself to her, but I had my mask on, the gloves, and everything. But so because I didn't contract anything, I'm like, okay, that worked. You know what I mean? But
So you had to self-quarantine just because you came in contact with her
right.
during that time.
Mm-hmm.
So now are you back working? Are
Mm-hmm.
you so you're working?
I work from home, so it was like, it's still yeah.
Okay. So it's not like you're technically driving anywhere like you're an essential worker or anything like that.
Right.
Okay. But have you been out of the house since you?
Yeah, I've been out of the house. Yeah.
Okay. So you don't think that most people are taking it seriously enough?
I wouldn't say most. I think it's 50-50. I think I see a lot of people who do take it seriously. Like I have a lot of friends who won't go anywhere. Like my best friend, because she has asthma and her mom is also a nurse. Like she works with a kid. So she's like, I don't want to get sick because I don't want to get him sick. So she's like, her gloves are everywhere, her mask is everywhere. She don't want to go nowhere. Like she's taking it seriously. But then I see the other people that's like, it's party time. I'm at a whole gathering at the house. Like,
So let me ask you this. So based on that, right? And it's supposed to take a vaccine at least 18 months to come to fruition. How reasonable, how long do you think is reasonable to ask people to take such measures? It's like staying in the home before it's like, I mean, this is just, unreasonable at this point.
honestly, I don't even think it's the vaccination. From my experience, it's the process. If the process was easier, then this would be easier. There will be less deaths, in my opinion, because if there was an easier process to say, hey, I need to be tested. Hey, I feel woozy. Hey, I have enough tests to test people, to separate people, and to say, okay, you do this, and this, and stuff. Because right now it's like so much ambiguity. Like
Right.
you don't know what's going on. You don't know what to do. Like, and me, because I'm a researcher, I'm like a person that's going to be on top of it. If my mom didn't have me, she never would have got tested. Because I was like, I'm not sitting down until you get tested. But because there's not a process to say you do exactly A, B, C, and D when you get tested, that's why it's messed up.
Okay, I got
Vaccine,
you.
you see what I mean? It's like the
And yeah, I
vaccine.
absolutely,
That's step 2.
agree with you. So let me just make sure that I'm understanding you clearly. So are you suggesting that if we had more testing and we could isolate the actual sick people, you don't think we would need as strict social distancing measures? Is that
I
right?
wouldn't say necessarily isolate them, but just like they can actually, I guess, knowing, like to know to say you must stay at home, because a lot of people will cough and be like, I ain't got nothing. You know what I mean? And then you have people who don't have health insurance. So how are they going to get tested, or how are they even going to go to the doctor? So I feel like if there were more processes set in place, then I still think we should social distance. I still think we should not go to work, because when you're in offices, you're so close to people, you're on top of folks. Folks are nasty. So you don't know who's disinfecting what. I still think it needs to be put in place. For how long? Honestly, but I think right now it's too soon, because the numbers are still crazy. At least till we like get a flat line or something.
So, I heard you say in your initial video that I came across, you were basically, I can't remember if you used the actual term, the government, but you were alluding to the fact that they weren't doing enough. What are some missteps that you think they've had and some things they could have done better. So I'm assuming one of those is testing, right? Made more testing available. Is there anything else that you could think of that you felt like would have been more helpful?
I think our economy is important, but I think lives are more important. I
Mm-hmm.
think if they shifted the message that the lives are more important than the economy, then that would be easier. Because if you notice lately, the argument has been so much about the money and the stimulus
Mm-hmm.
checks and the everything. And yeah, I get it. People have to live, but at the same time, like if you were to make the priority the people's lives and eventually getting some type of process or system in place, I think we'd already have something. Like, but if you notice, everything has just been about money, 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 economy,
So
economy.
you're saying you would think we would already have something like a vaccination? Like what are
A
you?
process,
Oh, like
something.
a
Yes,
process for just kind of getting
yes,
people to test quicker.
yes.
So basically, shut down the economy now to, in the long run, basically just kind of go ahead and get it over with. Is what you're
Exactly. Right.
saying. Okay. So so with you seeing the this up close, right? Your mom had these symptoms. And we can say, don't worry about the money, but that's kind of what the government is in place for, to move money. That's what they do. They take our freaking taxes. They say this is going here, this is going here. And the money never stops moving, unfortunately. Um, so with you seeing the symptoms and knowing at some point, I mean, we're gonna have to get things up and running. If they came and told you, okay, we're gonna give you this vaccination because this will just make it quicker. We can get back to work. We can get this over with. You seen your mom, you saw the wheezing and the hard to breathe and the temperature and the throwing up and all those different things. Based on that, would you be open to taking the vaccination on the first batch? I'm talking about not necessarily the trial, but I'm talking about it's like, okay, the vaccination is ready now to just release for the general public.
I'm so biased because I don't like vaccines of any kind. So it's like when I take the first, it's like, I'm not really an early adopter. I want to see what's going to happen. Does it actually work? So, and then I guess because I'm not high risk, I'm more like,
Yeah,
get
I
it
can see
as much
that.
as you guys. So
So what about, would you, based on your mom's previous symptoms and they're saying this could possibly be cyclical, would
mhm.
you suggest it to your mom for maybe next year? So it's like, go ahead and take this vaccine. You probably won't have to go through this next year.
I would suggest it for her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
Okay.
would tell her to do it.
And my last question is, how do you feel about Georgia opening? What have you seen? What's kind of been your, like, what's your response to that? What's kind of going on the ground?
I keep joking with my friends, but I think it's serious. I keep saying we're gonna be quarantined again by the end of May. Um because it's it's too early. I just think it's too early. We again still don't have any processes in place. And Atlanta in the summertime is a we're out here in these streets type of place. So yesterday, this
Yeah.
like traffic was crazy. Like traffic was like a Monday like rush hour type of
Mm-hmm.
thing. So it's like already people outside. I've seen videos on Instagram, Facebook of people like in bars and in parking lots just crowded and just waiting to go and party. And they're talking about opening up bars by May the 10th or the 14th or something like that. So again, I think we're gonna be back quarantined. And I saw something on online saying that there have been 1,000 more cases in the last like few days.
Yeah. So yeah. One thing I will say is that the testing is different, and I think the process and the response is different from state to state. And
It is.
one of my positions very early on. And actually, I haven't told anybody this, but I'm just gonna go ahead and put it out there. I was also tested for the coronavirus, and it wasn't because I thought I had it, but I just had one symptom out of a list of like 20 things. And it's if you have one symptom and you're coming to that clinic for that, they still are gonna test you to rule you out. So, and it was very easy. It was smooth sailing. When I got there, it was empty. It was in a clinic that I actually ended up going to, and my mom recommended it because I wasn't going to go there at first, but they were really great. The process was really great. And like I said, it wasn't that, but just because I had one symptom on there, it's like, okay, we still gonna rule this out, even though I'm gonna end up giving you some over the counter for something else or whatever. So the state to state, I think, are different. I also think that you're not going to have, you may not have some of the numbers in other states, maybe smaller states, like you might have in like a California or New York or things like that. And so based on that, do you think that there should be a federal response or a local response?
Definitely. I mean, both, but more local, because I mean, you've seen our governor; he don't care. So
you think,
we have a good mayor. So the mayor's like, y'all need to sit down, but the governor's like, nah, y'all opening up. So,
you said sit down. I got a real country girl.
Her name is Keisha, so I feel like that's how she wanted to say it.
But okay, so you think I meant to say state. So if you only had to choose between going with what the governor is saying, we're going to X the mayor out, right? Because it's really, when it comes up to something like this, it's not necessarily going to be up to the mayor.
It's not.
So going to the governor versus the president, what would you have felt? And then just looking at, like I said, New York might be a little worse than Georgia or, wherever. Based on that, would you have preferred, or do you think we should have went with a more state response or a federal? Should it be kind of one accord, like if Mississippi is shut down for 4 more weeks, Georgia needs to be shut down for 4 more weeks?
I think more federal, just because Georgia's open, you're kind of playing dominoes. You know what I mean? Like, one opens, the next one's like, oh, y'all opening, let me open. And then 2, you have people wanting to travel to those places because it's like, we open and we gonna bring the nasty over there to y'all.
I'm trying to get to somebody beach right now.
Exactly. So I think those 2 things, because I feel like it's a ripple effect. So I think it should have been more of a federal. Listen, if y'all shutting, we all shutting down. Because even you see how Trump kind of threw Governor Kemp under the bus and was like, yeah, Georgia open. Y'all can do what y'all want next day. Yeah. Georgia, y'all open too soon.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I think more federal. Oh, side note, I wanted to throw this in just because I have a lot of friends in like the medical field. My friend, he is a firefighter. And I asked him his experience, and he said at one point he was very scared because they kept getting called to death scenes from the virus. And he said it's the big 3. And he said obesity, hypertension, and diabetes. That's who it's coming for the hardest.
Absolutely.
So I'm like, because you hear a lot about like asthma and stuff like that. It's like not necessarily that. It's more of the hypertension, diabetes, obesity.
Absolutely. I just did a video about that, I think like a couple of days ago, maybe last week, talking about how it's really, those underlying conditions.
Right.
But all right, thank you so much for coming on today. Actually, this is my first virtual interview, so I'm super excited about that. I probably have at least 1 or 2 others coming this week, y'all. So also be looking for those. But thank you for being my first. I really enjoy having you on, hearing from a different perspective. I definitely agree with you on a lot of points. And in some of the points, I wouldn't necessarily agree, but that's why I wanted you on, somebody with a different perspective. And then you have a different, I'm starting to know a couple people that haven't now, and I haven't really just delved into a lot of questions like I am in the next coming weeks. But I wanted to hear from a different perspective. I never want to put myself in an echo chamber or anything. So you really enlighten me. Because sometimes we get stuck in our own experience. Because with my experience, I'm thinking people just initially, I'm thinking like, okay, maybe it's hard. They're trying to get the test out to people. But by the time your mom got tested, I'm thinking like people just have tests. But clearly, that's not everybody's experience. So I definitely thank you for coming on, sharing with us today. Do you have any final thoughts? And then I also just want to plug your blog again.
Final thoughts is just, I mean, regardless, control what you can control yourself. So just stay protected, have your hand sanitizer, like still try to distance yourself from people because not everyone is as clean as you. So wear your mask. Like if you, as soon as you walk in the house, wash your day off, like just try to protect yourself because it's still here. Even if it's open, it's like out of sight, out of mind. It's still people actually dying from it. It's still people actually getting sick. And if you get sick and the world is open, guess what? You messing with your own money. So, because the world is open now, you can't go to work. So just protect yourself, man, because I really want this to be over soon. And I'm tired of people getting sick. So, and again, my blog is singlewomanchronicles.com. You can Google it if you don't remember all that. But yes.
All right. Thank you. And to everybody in the chat, thank y'all for joining us tonight. Thank y'all so much for supporting me. Thank y'all so much for giving Ashley and her story a listening ear. If you are new here, make sure you go ahead and subscribe to my channel. And all right, y'all, I will see y'all later this week. Bye.